Hi, I'm Rob Key and I'm with the Muskoka Parry Sound Beekeepers Association, and we're here at the bee yard of Sid and John and Peter today for a virtual bee yard tour. In the past we've done this the old-fashioned way, but because of the COVID we're going with a virtual tour, and we'll be putting this on the website at muskokaparrysoundbee.ca.
Usually inside the yard, the grass, the clover is a little higher than what you see right now.
Wish list, auto starter, great for your hive tools, scalding them, and also starting the smoker.
Which one do you want?
So which one?
So personally, I name my hives just for identification purposes. Abby is short for Abigail, patron saint of beekeepers. She's a split from original Abby, and she's been doing very well. Particularly, overall, she hasn't been open for a while, so it's basically going to be a surprise as to what's happening up here in second box.
Have you taken any honey off her yet?
This year, no.
Not this one.
The only honey that I have taken off is Abby, original Abby, and Swarm 18. That's the swarm we caught in 2018. Took a two box each, 10 frames, and each frame had about 3 pounds, over 3 pounds, and we were quite happy. We spun those last week, so this is basically a surprise as to what's happening up here. Actually, this one is basically still empty. So by the looks of it, oh yeah.
Still,
Due to the amount of heat that we've had this summer, extra boxes has been advantageous.
yeah. In fact, I'll let you do the questions there, Rob.
Okay, okay. Yep. They're making lots of propolis for you guys.
Oh, fair amount of pine trees,
Yeah.
and oh,
Look at this.
beauty.
Look at this.
Wow. Are we ready?
Awfully close. Yeah.
So yeah, basically this is frame number 3, and you can see it's capped, ready to be
Ready
taken
for
out.
extraction.
This one is probably so is this one.
Flip it over,
Excuse me.
John. See, other side's the same, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other
Perfect.
side's the same.
That's ready for extraction.
So I was gonna just place a frame here.
There.
Nice little frame holder there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just hold the, which one do you want?
So take number 2 out, see what's it like.
There.
Another one.
So this is frame number 2 on the inside, and on the back side you can see
Got
that
some work to do.
some work to do,
Yeah.
and maybe I'll move it in a bit, because frame number 1 on this side,
Still needs that.
again, fairly good on this side, but for whatever reason they are leaving spaces, and on the back side a little bit of work to do.
Yeah.
But the rest of the frames,
See, this
What would
one.
you do to encourage them to fill those out, John?
There. See, that's,
at this particular time, these
Look at
frames
that.
are full. Take the full ones out and move the other ones into the center to
I can move this one. Yeah.
Have you got stickies or foundation to put in to replace those?
we have foundations from the previous spin out,
Okay.
so that's what I'll have to do in the next couple of days,
Yep.
because frame number 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is number 5, basically the center.
Another one.
It's
Beautiful.
Just beautiful.
the
So
same
we're
as this.
August 15th, and what we're finding is everybody has made one full box.
And from last week's spun out, as I said, every frame gave us about
About 3 pounds.
3 pounds in
pounds.
a medium frame. Yep.
We
Yep.
got, yeah. So we had almost 38 pounds from 12 frames.
Yep.
And exactly, remember I was saying, we pulled out 12 frames from this one and 12 frames from the other one.
Yep.
Right to the pound.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
You mentioned there's a fair amount of propolis on our boxes, which is true. We've been trying to clean them. Fair amount of pines in the area.
Yeah.
But it's also a benefit. This year we had 3 swarms
Yeah.
that we caught. And all of them, for whatever reason, go to the nearest pine tree.
They love pine trees.
Right there.
Yeah.
And they just hung there, and luckily Sid or I just pulled in at the right time. There they were. And
You jump in action.
jump in action and do
Where's
it.
the pail?
So we'll show you that later on. But this one,
Excellent.
I'll have to do some work on it. But as I said,
Crack her down one more, and we can take a look at this box on here. See how the brood is doing down there?
just a quick peek.
Do you let them? Oh, you've got a queen excluder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just personal. Take the frame.
Take this out. This is heavy. This is heavy.
Yeah.
Personal preference. I like.
And it's all metal wrapped edges, and
And it keeps the queen out.
yeah.
I just don't like her to wander up there. But I use it, and I've been pretty happy with it. Where's the frame?
Lots of propolis around the queen excluder, eh?
Oh, even within a day, they'll come around and they'll just plug her up.
Yeah.
Hey, that's part of their.
You
Part of
put
the
a
work process.
propolis collector on top there.
Yeah.
Just a plastic sheet with some grooves in it you put on the top, and
Yeah.
oh boy, yeah, cap brood.
Oh, look at that! Still have brood in on August 15th.
Yeah.
Look at that beautiful brood.
You can see the
Same
difference there between the capped honey and the capped brood. Capped brood in the center, and this is all capped honey
Honey on the
around
edges.
the outside. Yeah. That's pretty much a
on the bottom.
pretty much a classic brood pattern, right?
And
What
on
about-
this
you got
side,
any eggs over the other side?
yes. Number 4 frame. Again, whoa,
Look at
just as big as this one.
just the same.
Again, full of brood all over the place.
Beautiful.
Abby, too. Usually, I put a dot on my boxes. For example, Abby 3, that was split in 2020. There's
Blue
a
dot for last
Queen.
year's queen.
yeah,
Oh, that's this year's queen. Blue.
this year's queen.
Yeah.
So that's what we started doing this year, just for easier marking purposes.
Clean this.
Peter's helping me clean a little bit over here.
I'm the cleanup guy.
Oh, if you ever beekeeping, make sure you have a buddy. It's
It makes it.
so much easier. Whoa, whoa! Oh my God! On both sides.
What frame is this one?
1, 2, 3, 4. This is frame number 5. And on the back side, again, full of brood.
Yep.
So basically, this particular brood is getting ready for the winter.
Yep.
So it's going to be mostly, hopefully, winter bees.
You got some drone brood down on the bottom there.
Yep.
Well, it depends how long the season goes, eh? Yeah.
This particular season, in this particular area, everything has been early by 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Starting with goldenrods right now.
Yes.
They're blooming, and this is only, as I said, August 16th.
Yeah.
In the springtime, we had early blossoms, crab apple trees. They blossomed, Sid was saying, they blossomed quite early. Because of the heat, they just bloomed, and within 2-3 days, all the blossoms were gone.
Yeah.
So,
Well, indication is like I've never pulled honey in July. I've never been extracting honey in July.
Yeah.
Early August, but never July.
And I'm
So
already picking the apples off my apple tree. Which
yeah, yeah. So
usually till September.
the whole
They're
year
gone,
is
so I
sped
don't
up.
pick 'em.
Yeah.
So that's a good point, yeah.
so that you have to take into consideration. And one of the earlier meetings that I attended, which was only 4 years ago, we were just talking earlier, somebody mentioned you should keep logs. Not just in your head. You got to have a logbook. You got to keep logs. We try to do as much as possible, but I think we'll have to be more diligent on keeping logs, just because
It does help.
it does help.
Yeah.
So you can take a look at as to what's happening, or what happened last year, what's happening this year. Just a little bit of smoke to put them down.
Watch your back. Oh, it's stuck already.
It's stuck already. Oh,
Honeybee super glue.
oh, that one's heavy. That's got to be worked on real soon. This one is actually I put it on early on, just because for the ventilation purposes. In the cover and the lid.
Just a nice small entrance on that top cover, eh? You don't go big. Just that's
Yeah.
pretty much the standard comes with it.
Yeah. And you still have your entrance reducers on.
They're wide open though.
Sorry, the mouse guards. The mouse guards. You just leave those
Continue
on.
with that.
You just leave them on, eh?
Yes, we leave them on all season, and in the winter time, we just put a wooden reducer in front of it.
Okay.
Ta-da! On the outside.
Yep.
So that way, during the winter, when there is any dead bees, when they fall down, they're on the inside. They're not being blocked by the stick. We do secure the stick with just a screw or something to hold it down.
Yep.
Being on a meadow with a little creek beside it, there's always four-legged rodents running around. And that's why we keep the metal frames on and wooden ones later on in fall. We do have a little rodent trap that I seen at one of the Beekeepers. We'll show you later. And it works. The little rodent trap. So the thing is, so in this particular one, Sid,
What we would do to get some more heat extracting out, because the bees have been having a hard time and we've been having a lot of bearding this summer. I imagine many have had a lot of bearding. So to get stuff up, we would put a stick in there, plus we'd put in some additional sticks just to prop things up a little bit higher so that they would allow for some more ventilation. Plus we pulled out our screen bottom boards cover. Thus, with it all just screened on the bottom, John and I felt that that would allow the more air and ventilation to go up. Again, make sure you put a strong, heavy piece of material on top to keep your lid.
the lid is secure.
So you've got all screen bottom boards, Sid?
We prefer the screen bottom boards,
Yeah.
just for that extra purpose.
Yeah.
It's more versatile and easier for cleaning in the springtime, and also watching for our mite loads and such like that. We've been able to have success doing it in that fashion, and we've enjoyed the ability to be able to look and see and feel and participate in their health.
How's your mites been? Are you seeing many mites this year?
We have, first thing in the spring, we did the oxytat
Okay.
to keep down the foul brood.
Yep.
We do that as a standard practice.
Yep.
John has made a wonderful recipe up with the icing sugar.
Yeah.
And it does last a long time and works great and is simple, and it can be just scattered along the edges of the frames. We have been only doing single mite pads right at the moment, but we've done 2 mite pad applications
Just
already.
the Formic Pro or
Correct, the
Yeah.
Formic Pro,
Okay.
so that it would maintain. We haven't seen any mites, and we've been checking our boards and such like that. Fortunate, but now we are August the 15th.
Maybe
Once
getting ready for a fall treatment?
Yep.
ready
So-
for a serious fall double treatment.
Yeah.
So again, lot keeping. Last year we did it a lot later into the fall season, whereas this year with everything coming early, we might even have to do the treatment a bit earlier overall.
We're getting ready.
Our final treatment that we do at the end of the season, John was able to obtain one of the, I call them a fogger. What's the proper name for the
Vaporizer?
Vaporizer.
Yep.
And we vaporize our hives. Again,
That's oxalic acid?
oxalic acid.
Yeah.
Oxalic is a natural product that you can find in rhubarb.
Yeah.
So people do eat rhubarb, and this is the same type of product.
So that's your varroa mite treatments is
Yeah.
Formic and oxalic.
Yes,
Okay.
twice, springtime and in fall. And
Somebody interested in me here.
there's always one.
Always one renegade.
Want to be a hero.
Yeah.
And we've been quite successful. And this year we haven't done any test for the mites,
Okay.
washout.
Yep. The alcohol wash.
We haven't done it. Just we like our bees, but
Yeah.
we do monitor the bottom board
Yeah.
and just take a look at it and try to see if there's any mites on it.
Yeah.
And overall, knock on wood, so far we've been good. Thank you.
Yeah. Excellent.
So if you're looking around our yard, you're wondering, what are we doing in a cage? We have bears.
We have bears. As a matter of fact, last week I saw a bear just about a kilometer from here running across the local road.
Yeah.
A young bear.
The moose across the street.
We had a moose.
So there are 4-legged varieties around here.
Yeah.
And
You said you did have a bear attack on one of your hives,
yes,
John?
I did.
Yep.
That was my first year in beekeeping, which was 2016. And
Which is just down here, just maybe a couple kilometers.
couple of kilometers before we hooked up with Sid. Had electrical fence, no chain link. The bear did sneak underneath it and just knocked the hive over. Went to town on honey and larvae and everything else. Luckily, he didn't kill the queen. So I put it back together again, and it did provide enough honey for that particular first year to make it desirable and pleasurable. But the bees, being a rookie, didn't survive. So this particular hive and this particular hive were the same in 2016. And I'm just looking to see where the damage was.
The bear claws?
Bear claws. I painted them over by now.
I think you did. Yeah.
So they're gone. But knocked it over. Now, one thing that we have found is, personally what we're using is metal bed frames for our stands. This particular one is only about 9 inches plus or minus, whereas this one stands about
John was explaining, we've had troubles with bears. We're in Muskoka. We have a large population of bears. We wanted to evade any problems. As everybody knows, by the time you buy your bees, your $200 most times for a nuke. By the time you get your boxes and everything set up, you got $500 in each thing. We've got more than 20 hives sitting here. A lot of money. We put up a cage. We had some good donors that we were able to find that gave us some used caging. If you know the right people, the right place, the right time, it helps. If not, we got another one. Some people buy dogs every year, put up one of those little 10 by 10 cages. We've got another yard set up with one of those. They're $700. You watch on Kijiji, they come on for $150 because they don't want the dog or anything anymore. Works great. We're using this horse tape. It has a visual factor. It has braided aluminum wiring in the middle of it. We have it all hooked together, braided through together. One for lower animals, one's for higher, for bears and different things like that that may want to lean and go. Coons that try to go in. You wonder why we got concrete around the outside? Skunks. So no matter what you do, skunks and different things will tunnel underneath. You give them that little bit extra, they get fatigued and they give up. We hook everything all up with a solar charger. Solar charger, you want to have a strong enough solar charger. Don't waste your money on $200, $100 solar chargers. Get your one that they rate it for 10 miles. It is strong enough to give a bear a jolt if you're in an area where that is. And if you run the extra wiring around, it will do the job to finish things up and keep in everything. We've had, as of this moment, for 4 solid summers and winters, 0 problems. We do have animals here. We see bear tracks, we see moose tracks, we see everything, but nothing for problems inside.
They're checking it out every once in a while.
Oh yes, oh yeah, they're checking it out.
Electric charger works great.
Yeah. We also have a little bit of a garden in the works.
Ah.
Keeping plants away, healthy. We try to keep the grass low, so we just stake them out and name the flowers where they are. And right now phlox is coming up beautifully, as is goldenrod. And hopefully that will, and sedum. We also have a couple of plants of sedum. And on the bottom you can see there's a little bit of a creek. That's where the bees get all their water supply.
This area, there's quite a bit of wetland around this area,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Significant turtle habitat.
Yeah.
This year, really early in the year, was prime for swarms. So we wanted to keep some equipment always on hand and ready to rock and roll. One of the things we recommend everybody have is a box. Inside, get your box, get yourself a little painter's tarp, then you can spread it out, catch yourself your hive. Your swarm as it falls, you give it a shake, into it falls. You can catch it that way, then set your box up, work them into it.
If the swarm is too high up in the tree, you can't shake it. What we did is we got this 5-gallon jug, about 18 liters. It's got a handle. You cut the bottom out. We put a paint roller brush handle in here, and you just screw it on. And that way it gives you the extra reach if the swarm is too high. You just go as high as you want. You have a longer one as well. You shake it, chances are by this time the queen and the rest of the swarm, most of the swarm will fall in. And you just shake it into a box or into a
Have a hive ready.
hive ready.
Yeah.
Nice.
So actually it worked
Cheap
for
and
us.
efficient.
It worked for us.
Cool.
And that's our local swarming tree.
Right on that tree there.
For whatever reason, they love it.
That's where they go. Right?
That's
we
where they
found
go.
that they like to go to the area where they draw their propolis from. And if you can find where they're typically congregating to do their propolis collection, or where you see the drones hanging out a lot, you'll find that that's where 90 times out of 10, 100, that you'll see your swarms go. So we do have mice problems. John has designed some different things here. We've done traps, we've done all kinds of different things. We try to stay away from poisons and such, but a simple little method of a little spin wheel inside, we're baited with peanut butter, and
Holes on
It's-
the side for the mouse to get in.
the mouse will walk in on it, the tumbler will turn, and the mouse will fall in and drown and can't get out.
And then you get a scoop it and you scoop it out. Again, if you join a club, they'll give you all kinds of information. That's where I picked it up.
We utilize some different things for queen excluders. A lot of the queen excluders that you get with your starter kits are plastic. You may like it. We've had frustrating times with them because the holes are just a little bit smaller and tougher. But a good metal queen excluder does last forever, and you'll love it along the way. We've done some extra things too for winterizing. Just talk about it really quick. One of the things that we've done, here's a standard top, standard thickness. You can get the extra thick one. It's 2 inches thick. We place 2-inch insulation inside.
Yeah.
That insulation will then sit on top of a hive.
That's like this type.
And so I'll just move over here to one of the hives. What we do is we put that box inside here, that's on top. We put our Wellingtons on. We also insulate around ours. You take a regular cedar shim, screw it into the side, it holds your styrofoam on. 1 inch, 2 inch, whatever you can afford. It really makes the difference in getting your bees through. Out of all the years that we've done it, we've had 1 failure in town. And other than that, we've had 0 failures.
These are the wraps designed by the Wellington County Beekeepers Association, and they're available through the OBA.
They
Yeah.
are, and they're
And
fantastic.
they work really well.
They
yeah.
cut the wind down, which is the wind and such like that. Now, your next worst enemy is condensation. Many people have different ideas on that, but utilizing the styrofoam up top, the same as everybody recommends going for extra insulation upstairs in your attic. We find the more insulation upstairs, the less condensation that we have. We've successfully used the Wellingtons and the insulation put on for even singles. Doubles, we've had 0 problems, and we've had 5 boxes come through as singles, which have been
You have
successful.
overwintered single deeps.
Single deeps. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's
Because,
been
there's
fantastic, even
People
here in
talking
Muskoka.
about that a lot these days, that they're doing that a lot down in southern Ontario. But a little farther north here, people are saying, oh, I don't know if that's going to work, if they're going to have enough feed. But you've had success with that.
We've had success,
Super.
but only with the styrofoam and the
In
Wellingtons
the Wellington. Yeah.
and screwing them on. We've picked up some equipment for extracting. Fantastic to utilize the simple systems that they have out there. This is about a $600-700 unit. After you get past about 2 or 3 hives, you'll be wishing you had it, because it's a lot of work and it takes the effort out of it. You can get a combination unit that'll take shallows and deep, which this one will, and it's just a matter of turning a handle and spinning it. You can get them electric, you can get them all different kinds.
Now this is a 3, 6, 9, right? You can do 6 tangentially,
Correct.
or radially, sorry, or 3 tangentially. Do you guys do which? Do you prefer one or the other, or
Both of them,
you just load it up?
yeah.
We just put in 6. Last week we did 6.
6
6 shallows.
So you're doing the
6
radial.
mediums,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
and once in a while we do
You have a deep to do.
3 deeps.
Yeah.
But you have to balance it.
That's
And
it.
then
it's
you have to
off
switch
balance.
them around as well, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Spin him around,
Just go
spin him
slow.
backwards, and then we
once
flip
you get
them
the
as
even
well.
motion, okay, you get one guy hugging it, so it doesn't one guy spinning. That's all.
We've attracted some bees here. So there's some honey we spun off. So typically when you're spinning it, you can open up the slot, run it through a double strainer.
Screen.
Yep. We've attracted some hornets and stuff right at the moment, bringing some live honey
Lots
in.
of hornets this year too. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And thus it's yummy, tasty stuff. We have a real dark golden honey is what we have on usually.
Okay.
And so because we have a combination of meadow and trees, so thus it is not your typical light honeys that you would get. So you would place your strainer on and away you go.
You want
We do recommend, if you're short on time, the Quebec Traps.
You put it in at night, mesh face down, it's sealed on all sides. Then you have a honey super up here. By morning, the honey super is free of bees because they went through the Quebec escape, but they haven't figured out way back yet. So that's one way of
It's pretty
keeping.
complete. You get close to 100%
Yes.
of them out. Yeah.
And then you just
Only leave it for 1 day. If you leave it for 2 days, you're in trouble. They're back in.
They'll
They'll
find
find
their
it.
way back.
they'll find it.
Another little thing, if you're doing a couple of hives, this little thing is
That's good.
fantastic. For doing your uncapping, you just use these little like hair comb things, do your uncapping, scrape it into here. This little box then also maintains all the cappings, and it also has a pour spout. As the cappings sit in it, all the drippings go to the bottom, and you can take another pour off.
Nice fine screen on that.
It is, yep. Now we've had some success as well doing our own queens. We've cheated doing them, so everybody can do this. One of these little boxes are really neat. They can open up and you can let them in and out on their own inside. So we put a little addition on ours, which they don't have, and at the schools, and they show you. Because if you want to open it up, instead of sometimes when you open up something, the bees come to your face.
Yeah.
They don't come out right away, so it acts as a little.
Just a little inner cover sort of a thing.
Yep.
For it, eh? Yeah.
Because when you're starting them out, you put sugar water in here. These here start out as blanks. You build yourself some little comb for them. What we do is when you have your queens in the springtime, when the swarming season, we'll cut the little queen cell out and mount it in with a little pin there, so you can see the remnants of a queen cell that I cut out and put in there. That's why it's darker. It came out of an older hive. And then just pinned it in there. Let that queen hatch. But before we did that, we put a cup of bees inside here, closed it over, let them stay in there overnight, then introduce the queen on that, stick it in there, let her hatch out. This is after the queen cell has been capped.
Okay.
And once that queen cell has been capped, you can throw it in there, boom. You get 4 or 5 of these boxes, you're raising 4 or 5 of your own queens. It's August now, a lot of people like to re-queen with Ontario queens. You just made yourself an Ontario queen. Design every box with some little difference there, and they will be good. The only thing you do have to watch out, put them not near your beehives here. Robbing. They will try and rob these guys out and chase them away. So you need to take them back home. They're small enough to maintain somewhere not near your bigger hives. They will have a bad tendency to push the other ones out.
Okay. Yep.
We feed our bees. John and I have tried some different things. We just set up standard boxes down here to show you. There's an inner cover on top of your regular hive. Put your regular thing on. This is a standard box feeder. Works great. We like it. It's one method. This top piece comes off. You fill your sugar water inside. The bees come up through the vent chute, or chimney some people call it. This stops them from coming up and drowning in the pool of sugar water, and they feed through these little cracks in the side. It is great. So there's an example of one sitting there. Another one that we do use, this one's a little bit tall right at the moment. Some different places sell them, and they call it a feeding pail. At some of the different ones, we'll do a promo. Dickie B, he makes a bunch of them. Put a little bit of screen on it and stuff like that. You turn it over with the sugar water, place it over top of your hole, and then that will then stay like that. Some people leave it like that and place a rock on it. We generally take a deep or 2 shallows, cover it over, and then put your lid back on. It works fantastic. Another method that we've had success with is just a large feeder. Galvanized pail full of sugar water with a lid. make sure you put some straw or sticks inside after you put your sugar water in, because they will go in and drown. Just like at the water at the creek, they go down and they crawl out a piece of grass. We have here sugar candy. People call them different patties and stuff like that. It works fantastic too for them to come up to get, so you can see some bees here coming over to enjoy it right at the moment.
You fellas put candy on over the winter. Do you use it like right through the winter? Is that like a feeder rim to have there? Well, that's one of your deep intercover.
Yeah, we'll do that for typically in the springtime.
Okay.
And then depending on the hives, because some of them are stronger and some of them are weaker. So we govern by sight what each one generally is required, because each individual's health is different, same as with people. On top of this fantastic thing, it's a little bit deep. You need more boxes, you need more effort, and you do have a problem with setting it up here, and wind and rocks and all those kind of things. John did a modification, and this is his unit right here. Take this off. There's our lid.
It's just a typical...
Notice the name. Rubbermaid. Get some Rubbermaid due to not the dollar store ones. You need something that seals. We've tried the dollar store ones. The seals leak, failure. We have problems.
Just a hot glue around the screen there, John, did
Yes.
you use? Or?
Just high glue.
Yeah.
And it's flat, and this particular container holds 1.5 gallons or 5.6 liters.
Yeah.
So we usually fill it halfway full. That way we can monitor it.
Yeah.
And as long as it's sealed, this particular one, the Rubbermaid one, seals really nicely. And again, all you need is a shallow and the lid, and the bees have a fair amount of walking space.
Yeah.
How often do you fill that?
Again,
2
we
to 3 times during the season is what we've found. They typically need, depending. This year's been really good. The bottom boxes are both full, 2 brood boxes. We like to do 2 brood boxes if we can, and let them naturally fill up. And then we just, before we go to close things up in mid-September and stuff like that, we take a look and see how the bottom boxes are for being full. And if there's still lots of room for them to pack, because they quit making brood, so they do fill in the brood area now that's been vacated of brood, and they do pack honey or whatever they can for syrup into that area. So that typically can go from 1 to 3 feedings on those.
Okay.
Just wanted to show you got to be frugal. So these are some spin outs and stuff like that. So after you spin them out, you do see a haze on the side. Some people like to crush theirs, and if you don't have a spinner, but this is what ends up happening if afterwards, and what your frames will look out if you use the little picks and then run it through the spinner. It vacates it. You bring them over and let the bees finish cleaning them out, and they're just fantastic.
They'll fix that comb all up before they start putting nectar in it again.
Yep. Let's work next spring, depending on the spring. If you have a cold, wet spring, not much out there, you'll be fixing the existing build out rather than building a new one, which takes time.
Yeah.
So if spring is early with dandelions, you just might get a couple of frames of dandelion honey.
Yeah.
Some of you will start questioning yourself too. Why aren't they doing some build outs? Springtime, as you'll learn over the years, is the time when they make wax. There's a season for planting, there's a season for harvesting, there's a season for doing different things on a farm. Bees follow the seasons too. In the spring, they build wax. If you start something, a hive, later in the season, you may not end up getting them to successfully fill out your frames. You may end up with a whole bunch of frames, such as this, that only get a shadow on them of wax build out, and you're very frustrated. So that's why you do need to have some build outs ready at all the time, because for different seasons, because they're not doing stuff. So we save different little things to make little stands for different bees when we want to do something, set something up in a temporary thing. We grab little pieces of wood and steel. You got to be frugal. we like to stay away from pressure treated because everybody's got a piece of pressure treated. You see them and stuff like that. Pressure treated is poison to your bees. It off gases, the bees land on it, and so us personally, we are not so organic that you would call us freaks or those kind of things, but we do try to stay as clean as we can. So we've had great success, but we have had failures and simple little things. This is some examples here of a season whereby we've had some die-outs. You will sometimes down in the bottom of the brood box, the bottom brood box, have some die-outs. You can see some dead bees. The bottom, sometimes you'll get mold and mildew on those as well. We typically try to discard these. If you can get them before any mold gets on it, then you can just finish cleaning these bees out by just giving it a quick smack and so forth. The dead bees, what you'll find is that they got chilled and they ate themselves out in that area, and they typically died from a lack of honey. You think sometimes, why did they die of honey? Because you had the whole box filled out. They fail to move to the side walls. Sometimes you'll have 2 or 3 frames of honey out in the outer limits here. That'll be right full. You got a cold spell, they wouldn't move from there and they would have died because it got too cold. So in the wintertime, it's good to, if you can, during a warm period, get out and check, and if you need to, put in some feeding poly patties and different things like that. We like to use the fondant ourselves. The fondant is nice and malleable, and it easily slides in because it's just like a little flat pancake, and it works great for emergency feeding in the winter to stop some of these different things from happening where they wouldn't move to the sides till later when it got warmer in the spring.
Yeah, these drastic temperature changes up and down, we've had a couple of winters where temperature will change like 15 degrees in one day and they seem to get caught out like that.
Yeah, and that's what we found too.
Yeah.
Typically you can be 25 below for 3 or 4 days, and then it'll be +5 for 3 or 4 days. It causes these kind of things that you need to.
Excellent.
I'm Sid, John, Peter.
That's it.
All right, guys.
Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
So the guys have gone to a lot of trouble here to get set up and show us around what their beekeeping operation is, and we thank you very much for having us out. Thanks to Craig, our video guy, and we'll soon have this available on our website at muskokaparrysoundbee.ca. Thanks again. Bye now.